going to tell you a story about real demons that were in the form of humans to let you know that really they truly are that way. Now, I was visiting a lady I was dating in Oregon. She was looking for a house. She was renting at the time, and I went to visit her sometimes. Had to also make use of the ocean. It's beautiful there at Lincoln City, Oregon. But we went to a house that she saw was for sale, and when we got to the door, she called and they didn't answer. We got there and the door was cracked open. Like, we go, hello, and we walked in, and everything looked like it had been there a while. I mean, there was dust around things, and all of a sudden this man and woman walk out. He was, I don't know, 5'8", 5'8"-ish, a little gut on him, and she was a little shorter than him, white blonde hair. And they came out and we sat down, but I wasn't interested in listening to anything. I was just looking around. I was just there. She was enamored. The lady I was with, she was enamored by him. And he, in my mind, did not make any sense. He was speaking in circles and chaos. And again, I'm oblivious. I think my angels were protecting me because I was just looking outside and the wind picked up and it was really, really strong wind, like really weirdly strong. And then they kept talking and she was all bubbling all around him, and the woman was just sat back over in another area. And I thought, this is weird. Why does everything look like it's been here for years? So anyway, that moment ended and we left, and she kept saying, oh, wasn't he great? And I'm like, whatever, but he didn't make any sense to me. Is the house for sale or what? And so she'd invited them over for dinner that night or the next night. And it was interesting because they weren't living in the house. Supposedly they were at a hotel. So we get a call from the hotel, and it's the lady working at the hotel saying, so-and-so is going to be at your house at so-and-so time. They wanted me to call you because they couldn't use the phone. Right there. That was weird. You can't use the phone. So they finally show up, and we're standing at the door, and they won't come in. I opened the door and turned, and they go, invite us in. And I'm like, come on in, And again, I'm oblivious. They were after the woman I was dating, and came in, and we got to talking about things. We got drinking this bourbon, which another thing that happened, that bottle never went low, and I was getting toasted. We were talking about things, and again, I remember listening. He was talking to the lady I was dating, and she was all, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And none of it made any sense. It was double talk and chaos. And then he mentioned 9/11. You know what happened with the Twin Towers, and he stopped and he put his head back and he goes, oh, we got a lot on that day. And I thought, what? What do you mean you got a lot? So then they weren't getting very toasted, and I was really toasted. Again, just oblivious to anything evil. And he had to get up supposedly to go to the bathroom, but what we later found out is he put little things here and there in her house, like I guess a way for him to come to that place. I don't know how that works. But guys, he got off the stool, right? And he walked over and he fell down. And he bounced like he was this round. So like he was this balloon thing. Like he bounced, and somehow he got up. He kind of like pushed a little and floated up. Again, I was a little drunk, but I was being kept protected because I was just oblivious. Finally, I was talking to the lady, and we got talking about sex, I think. It was so strange. And her eyes were flipping from silver to black, from silver to black. And I'm just looking at her eyes going, what's wrong with this woman's eyes? And I said, yeah, I dated this one lady, and we got a little crazy on the beach. And she said, yeah, I know, I was there. And I thought, what do you mean you were there? So I figured she was maybe a lust demon or something. You guys can scroll on by if you don't want to hear anymore. But anyway, they left, and he gave us this little shiny ball and something else, a crystal. And she started doing some research. The next day I left, and she said it was some kind of wind demon or something to that effect. But anyway, I got home, and my oldest daughter's pretty sensitive to things spiritually. And I said, look at this cool thing this guy gave us. And she said, that's from a demon. Get rid of it. Get it out of my house. And I thought, what? And then the lady I was seeing, she called and said, did anything happen to you? And she said she was pushed, dragged up the wall, and held against the wall. And excuse me, I went out and threw on the way to work once, I just threw those things out in the street. I never was bothered by them. I was protected by God, I think, and they were just after her. But yeah, she looked up and found out the type of demons they were, which I'm not going to talk about that. But they truly are around, and little people. When I forgot. When he went into his car, they were leaving, I walked out with him. He got in the truck and opened his door. He got in, and I closed the door on his leg accidentally. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, because I was drunk. And it just bounced back, and he had to grab his leg and pull it up. I'm telling you, it's a weird moment. It really happened. So be aware, and God will protect you, obviously, because I was oblivious. And to this day, I thought, well, I need to tell people. They do come around, angels among us as far as, and also the other things. So you truly have to invite them in, which is why I don't like a welcome mat in front of my door. I could say welcome except vampires, but no. Watch out what you do. I mean, there's a whole world going on around us. So just keep God front and center. And angels will take care of you. God bless you.